We are live.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
You see that fake smile?
You just spit on me.
I didn't spit on you.
She just loogied on me.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Y'all, we're in the United States.
Running down my leg.
We're in the United States.
We're back.
We're in the United States. But we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about how you can get to financial independence with your credit score, right? By utilizing your credit score. So there's two ways that you can get to financial independence. One way is to take the amount of your expenses, your yearly expenses, let's just say $26,000, for instance. If you could live off of $26,000 per year,
Right.
you multiply that times 25, and the number, about 660,000, would be your financial independence number. But there's another way.
Well, there is a cash flow method.
Cash flow method. So what's that?
Well, you know what? I just had a brain fart.
He just had a brain fart. So the cash flow method is based upon,
Go on.
It's based upon making sure that you have cash flowing in every month. And
like off of rental properties and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you invest in a business, that's another way. You invest in real estate, that's another way.
Right.
So it may take a long time to save up $660,000, and then you would withdraw on that money on a regular basis. But the cash flow method means that you have the amount of your monthly nut coming in every month. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at 3 different scenarios, and we are going to crowdsource this. We want you to tell us what these people should do.
Yes.
And then we'll also, by doing that, show you the thought process of how you think about this thing so that you can retire as soon as possible and hopefully leave the U.S.
So can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are you guys hearing us okay? Because we kind of got new microphones.
Yeah, we have new microphones.
So we just want to make sure you can hear us loud and clear.
And I don't see anything in the chat that says that they don't hear us, like when I accidentally put us on mute. Ha ha ha. Ballerina says hearing you fine. Very good. Very good.
Fantastic.
All right, so let's talk about it.
Well, first let's introduce ourselves.
Oh, hey y'all. My name is Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, travel, and retiring abroad as we build generational wealth. We help folks who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan get their money straight so that they can retire on time or maybe even early.
I know why I had a brain fart.
Why?
Because just forewarning, we might have some people walk in because the room that we're in right now
is the dining
room. And folks went out shopping for dinner and bring stuff home so they could cook. So we might have to shush them when they come through the front door. You might hear some noises. And some of them talk loud.
They're loud.
Very loud.
They're loud.
So just let you know.
Yeah, this is real time, y'all.
We're not being invaded.
This is real time. So
well, we are being invaded.
We are being invaded. So, okay. So that's what we're going to talk about. For those of you who don't know, we've got some information in the description below about our real estate masterclass that we have coming up. But first, let's say hello to the folks who are watching us right now. So this is the weekend before 4th of July. We really don't celebrate 4th of July. Independence from what? So for us, it's like, okay, so Black folks weren't free on that day. We were still enslaved, so it really wasn't our Independence Day. However, we do like a federal holiday. So, hey, Greta.
Hey,
good
Greta.
to see you. Greetings, Utopians. Ooh, I like that name.
There you go.
Greetings, Utopians. Yes. Hey, Marguerite. Good to see you. Oh, we miss you guys. We so enjoyed meeting you face to face at our meetup a couple of weeks ago. That was so much fun. Hey, Action VJ, thank you for showing up.
Action VJ.
And Regina's in the house all the way from Oklahoma. Tanya Brooks.
Hey.
Is Tanya a new name? From Jackson, Mississippi. Have we seen her before? Okay.
Yes,
so one of my best friends in the whole wide world's name is LaTanya. So I always that
I always
sticks
think
out.
that's her too.
Yeah. So Kay Renee is in the house. Good to see you. Hey, Auntie Trey.
Hey, Auntie Trey.
And here's another LaTanya, senior insurance advisor.
Okay.
Here we go with the
goes.
dogs.
So,
here we go. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Mary.
Should I sneak over there and tell them we're online?
Yes. Yes.
I'll be right back.
Hey, Deborah. We're going to get started. Hey, Gummy. I tell you, between the dogs, we've got 4 dogs in the house right now. 4 dogs. Yes. Hey, Meriton, good to see you. Shaquan, good to see you. D. Walker, good to see you. Mama Bear, Alexandria D. Hey, Greta, good to see you in the chat.
I'm back.
Valerina, Karen Louise, glass half full. Hey, Krishan, for all of you, I'm going to announce it again, but I just want to say we have a Move to Portugal Summit coming up. First weekend in November, we have partnered with Blacksit Global and Krishan.
Hey, Krishan.
Hey there. And so there is a waiting list. That information is in the description below. Move to Portugal Virtual Summit coming up first weekend in November.
Yeah.
Hey, Kay Stewart, Shara. So hello, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are going to talk about, to me, the easiest way, especially if you're starting later. If you're starting later in life, you don't necessarily have or want to have 10 years, 15 years to let your investments in the stock market increase to the point where you can retire early. So so there is another method, and that is by looking at what your monthly expenses are going to be.
Yes.
Right? And making sure that you have enough income coming in
to cover
those.
Yes.
And hopefully it's not income that you are trading for your time. Otherwise, you're just working a job.
Right.
And that ain't what we're talking about.
Nope.
We're not talking about trading your time for money. So let's meet the first case study. This is Carl and Connie Conservative.
You want me to read it?
Yes.
Yeah, because that writing is too small.
If you're looking on your phone, sorry, put us on your television.
Carl and Connie Conservative. Okay, so they have $275,000 saved and invested. 43,000 of that of the above amount is cash. No debt other than their mortgage. So no credit card debt. That's great. $3,500 a month they're looking at for an abroad life. Okay? Or $43,000 a year.
However you want to look at it.
They're empty nesters in their late 40s. They have 2 adult children who live in the same city as they do. Extra cash is going to pay off the main. It's off.
Oops.
It's like, to pay off the main home. And they want to retire ASAP and move abroad.
All right. So they're real estate holdings. They have a main home and they have a rental property. Their main home is huge because they had kids, right? So it's 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, right? Their mortgage is pretty low in consideration of what it's valued at because they've owned the home for a while now. So they pay $1,750 in their mortgage plus escrow. And then they have a small rental property, a single family home that they purchased a while back, not too long ago, but a while back. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It's smaller. It's in an up and coming neighborhood. So right now they only owe $142,000 on it. It's valued at $350,000. You see there, their monthly payments are $1,150 and the potential for rent is $2,200, which is what they are getting. So they need to be bringing in $3,500 per month. Right now, their net cash flow, if they were to move and rent out both of their homes at the current rental market value, their cash flow would be $2,800 a month. So there's $700, less than the desired amount that they want per month. So they need to find $700 from someplace else. So the question is, and also, they only have $43,000 saved up. The cash flow does not include putting money aside for potential maintenance, et cetera, et cetera. Now they could sell their house. They could sell the big house, right? And take, there's $495,000 worth of equity in it. They're going to have to pay capital gains tax probably Unless they buy a rental property with it, another rental property with it, then why sell that home? Unless they're going to buy a duplex or something like that for the same amount of money. So there's a tax implication.
Yeah.
But they could take the rest of what's left and put it in investments. They still wouldn't be at their FI number, which is $1,075,000. So what do you suggest they do? So we'll take your suggestions first. What do you think they need to do so that they can walk out the door and move to their new life abroad, knowing that they have $3,500 a month coming in, they have a healthy emergency fund, etc. All right. So I'm going to go down to the bottom and see you guys are still saying hello to everybody. Hey, Alicia. Hey, Latina Yogi, Neighbor G, Sir Panthaman. Like Panther Man,
Sir
but
Panther
Man. R. Hogan, good to see you. Jackie's Journey, good to see you. Lynn Will, good to see you. Chris Donardo, good to see you. Dana,
like
Jeanette. Yeah, Chris Donardo sounds new. Welcome. Hi there, new to your channel from Miami, Florida. Yay, welcome.
Welcome.
All right, so what would you suggest that Carl and Connie Conservative do? So Regina asked, sell their main home, buy to rent, same area as the other. That is an idea. So one of the things that we think just right off the bat, I'm just going to throw this out there, is we think that we always suggest a healthy 2 years living expenses as your emergency fund, especially if you're moving abroad, because with the fluctuation in the dollar and everything like that, that just gives you a lot of cush and leeway to make other plans if things go sideways. Bill says up to $500,000 on primary for a couple doesn't have capital gains, I thought. Bill, I tried to look some of this up, and these are questions that I usually ask my tax person, right? So what I was thinking was that, and I think you're right. I think it is $250,000 per person, $500,000. I do remember reading that. But I thought that if they took that money and reinvested it, even in the stock market, that they could avoid those taxes as well. So, but again, if they put the 495 less they're still going to have to pay some taxes, less whatever they have to pay in taxes, et cetera, would they have enough growth to last them a lifetime, right? So that it grows up to that 1.75 million or 1.075, and they're still withdrawing, some money. They wouldn't have to withdraw the whole 4% because they still have some money coming in on their rental property, right? So maybe, because I didn't run the numbers in the simulator, but for any of you who are in our Fire Over 50 Facebook group or who are in the Beyond the Bling Financial Money Mindset Makeover for Financial Independence class, y'all know that there's a C simulator, a Fire C simulator. Anyway, the link is in the Facebook group, and of course it is in the community for Beyond the Bling as well. And that would be a good thing to run these numbers through.
Very good thing, yeah.
Right. So Regina says, okay, so we read that one. They should invest stocks. Okay, if you want us to put your thing up, put a Q in front of it, they should invest in stocks that would pay them monthly dividends. How much would they have to own?
They'd have to own a lot of stock.
Right. In order to get, if they want to live off of $3,500 a month, and they're only getting about $1,100 from their rental property. So now they've got like $240,000 already saved and invested. They're going to add another, let's just say $400,000, $450,000, something like that. So they have about $600,000 or $700,000 saved, even if it's invested, even if they sold what was in there and invested all of that money into dividend producing stock. One of the things is, on average, this is not the case with Apple, but I don't know how good Apple's dividends are because we just reinvest them. Which The companies that usually offer dividends also grow more slowly. So the question would be, how much money would they need to have to generate another $2,200 a month in dividends? But yeah, in general, that's a good idea. So Greta says, I think they need to increase the cash by selling the main house.
Just the main house, or would you sell the rental property and keep the main house?
Okay, so the capital gains, yes, they have lived in the main house more than I think it's 2 years, Alexandria. I think you have to live there more than 2 years. So they've owned the home, they raised their kids in it partially, et cetera, et cetera. Shara says, sell the house and invest. You could also finance either or both homes, refinance and take some money out. True. So I hear a lot of sell and invest the proceeds. Bill says, I don't want to do math that fast. Okay, so Mary W. says, I agree with Regina. They will have cash flow to cover the mortgage, insurance, and potential 3 homes. Wait, what did Regina say? Let me go back.
So the main home buy 2 others.
And buy 2 others, right? Like, I'm about cash flow, because here's the thing, guys. If you say the stock market over a period of 10 years increases on average 7%, we know that rents can increase more than that. It's a gamble, but, could you sell the main home and buy a duplex? Now you have 3 doors.
Yeah. Instead of buying 2 separate, just buy a duplex.
Buy a duplex, right? Because that's less per square foot usually to buy a multifamily home than to buy a single family home. So yeah. So Mary also says one could be a short-term rental in another area for diversity. That's an idea. And see, here's the thing. This is what I think. Like, if you go the stock market method where you're withdrawing 4% or less, right, from your investments, that really truly is a fixed income, because so your tastes cannot increase over time. Whereas if you have rental property, rents increase, but your mortgage doesn't.
Unless you do something, borrow against it.
Unless you borrow against it, right? But your mortgage does not necessarily increase, rents do. So you could conceivably increase your lifestyle over time. Now, some people are like, no, I'm good. I don't want more stuff. I don't, whatever. Yeah. And that's something to think about. But, these are what we're trying to show you with these case studies is not necessarily if this, then that. It's a thought process. And if you understand the thought process, then you can take whatever situation that arises or that you find yourself in and employ the same kind of questions. Donna asks, is there a tutorial for C-Fire Sim? I'm in the OBU Fire Over 50 Facebook group. No, we did go over it. It's pretty user-friendly, Donna, if you just go into it and start plugging in your numbers. Those who are in the Beyond the Bling did get a demonstration in one of our live Q&As. But yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just plug in your numbers. Regina, other options: sell home, pay off rental property, buy one additional rental property for cash. Why would you pay off the rental property, Regina? Remaining proceeds, 2 years savings fund. So, yeah, I like that you guys are thinking creatively. Lynn says, sell the main house, hold on to the small rental home for at least 2 years to see if it's worth it. So they've owned, the rental property for a while. So one of the things that Rick and I were talking about is moving out of the main house and into the rental property for and saving on that rent, that extra $700 that they get from not having to pay the same amount of mortgage, plus the extra money that they get from renting it out could go towards their cash savings nest, right? And then any other expenses that they save on can also go towards their investments. So Krishan says, I say sell and invest in a position that pays monthly dividends. I'm not sure what I don't do dent. I don't know if you were saying you don't like to you don't do rent, or yeah. I like the duplex idea too. Like so one of the ideas was, so you could sell the main home, buy a duplex, or rent out the main home, rent out the rental property, and buy a duplex. And then the rents from all three of those could conceivably cover your cash flow at $3,500 a month. So that is an idea as well. Hello, all. Oh, we're in class. Yes. If you're finding this conversation interesting, please hit the like button so that YouTube knows to share this with other folks.
With other people. Yeah.
Investment in stock market. It's too wild for me to say what to do. Yeah. So it also depends, Mary, how much time you have, right? Like, so if they are not needing the money to live on for a while, and they can just let it ride and go through with what it's going to go through, because we know historically within 10 years we're going to be up here somewhere, then yeah,
you have to let the stock market do what it's going to do.
Blacksett was saying she doesn't like debt. Look, there's good debt and there's bad debt. Let somebody else pay off your mortgage. Unless you plan to live in that house forever, let somebody else pay off that mortgage. Because even if, think about it, guys, say you have an extra $800 a month after you've done your investing, et cetera, and you're giving that $800 to a mortgage company at 3%, 3 to 3.5% interest, let's just say, for your mortgage, right? I know it's higher now, but most of you probably bought when it was lower. That money could be going into a CD, for instance, at 5%. And then when you have accumulated the $200,000 to pay off the house or whatever, just pay it off then. Meanwhile, your money's making money. Your money is making 2% over the 3% that you're paying interest, right? So you're still making money, and then you pay it off and you've got all that interest still left over at the end of the day. That is better than paying off a mortgage every month. And if you invested in the stock market and you have 10 years, even better. But at the very least, in a high interest, now that we've got interest rates back for a while, put it in some CDs or something. If you think you can save that amount in 2 to 3 years or less. You taught me to look at their other skills that they could possibly use to create cash flow.
Definitely.
So we haven't talked about a side hustle, right? So they could just keep their two houses and make up the $700 by a little part-time job. I mean, how part-time does it have to be just to generate $700, right? Especially for people in their late 40s with that skill set.
Right.
They could start a side hustle. In the time that it takes them to save up their extra cash, they could start a side hustle that could potentially generate the $700 per month. So yeah.
That's probably what I would do. I like the side hustle idea.
So I might buy a duplex and start a side hustle, because I get bored easily. And I think I realize that now. So thank you for doing YouTube with me, sweetheart.
My pleasure, baby.
But so I need something to do. I need my brain working. I need to be constantly learning. So we wrote down some suggestions for Carl and Connie. We want them to save $86,000 total in cash for emergencies, plus $10,000 for maintenance on the rental properties. That's assuming that they keep both of them at minimum, if not buy an additional multifamily home. And get this, if their parents are still alive, they can buy a multifamily home, put their parents or parent in one of the units, and get an FHA loan, as long as their parents live in there for a certain amount of time. So selling the main home is an option that does not guarantee the same long-term cash flow. Option 2, downsize by buying a duplex plus. Yeah. So the other option was, we were saying, buy a duplex, moving into one of the units in the duplex, because it's all about house hacking, right? Like your whatever you're paying for housing is usually your biggest expense. So if you can eliminate paying rent, paying for a mortgage, right? That's a lot of money that you can set aside for the future. So we were talking about if they bought a duplex and letting the other people pay for the whole mortgage, right? Or maybe they're only having to come out of pocket $200 or $300 per month to cover the mortgage. And now they've got cash flow from the main home, cash flow from the rental property, and then the duplex is allowing them to live rent free. And then when they move, they have the cash flow from both.
Right.
Both sides. So that also is an option that we thought of. So we're going to take this off screen. Did you have anything else? Any other notes to add to it?
Just the house hacking is very important if they can do that along the way.
Yeah. So, and Greta, look, being a landlord is not for everyone.
No, it's not.
It's not. So she likes to invest in REITs. We might do a short on REITs. I haven't done a lot of research in REITs, but I do invest in some great companies that do construction work, both infrastructure, etc. So, all right. So we are going to go on to the second scenario. This is Fannie Frugal.
Fannie Frugal.
Want to do the honors?
Okay. She has $68,000 saved in invested. $21,000 of the above is cash. Public student loan debt of $18,000. There's $2,200 a month if she wants to move abroad. That's how much she expects to have, $2,200 a month, or 26.4K per year. She's a single mom in her early 40s, so she's still young.
She's young. She's got a long time before Social Security is even a thing. And that's assuming we're going to have Social Security 20 years from now.
Yeah. She has one teenage son. They live in one of the units in her fourplex. She wants to retire ASAP and move abroad with her son. Her real estate holdings are her main home and rental property. She has primary residence and rental property fourplex. 2 units are 2 bed, 2 bath. 2 units are 2 bed and 1 bath. She has a mortgage of $750,000. The value is $1.5 million. The monthly mortgage payment is $4,700. Rent from the other units is $2,300 from 2x2, $1,800 plus $1,600 and 58.30.
No, and 56.
What am I looking at? 56?
Yeah. So basically what we're saying is the other 3 units, the other 2-bedroom, 2-bath is renting at $2,300, and then the 2-bedroom, 1-bath, one is renting at $1,880. The other one is at $1,650 because they got rented out at different times with different leases.
Okay, and the total is $58.30.
So for a total net, or for a total rent of $5,830, and then you subtract that from her monthly mortgage payment, $4,700, and you get $1,130 in profit right now. And she's putting $1,000 of that towards the principal, $1,000 of the $1,130 towards the principal, right? So when she moves out and she is able, we're being very conservative here, right? Because let's just say it's a year from now. She moves out of the country. She moves to San Miguel de Allende with Michelle or something like that.
Something like that.
And she rents out all 4 units. So she would make $3,430. She would net that after her mortgage payment, but that's not including setting aside money for maintenance and things like that. But that is including insurance and all of that kind of stuff. So if she sold, she gets $750,000 less the tax implications, if any. She has owned this for longer than 2 years, so if there's no tax implications, there's that. Her fine number is only $660,000. Again, so and she's only like 41, 42, 43 years old, right?
Mm.
So conceivably, she could just sell the whole thing and be at 5. However, that means that she is limited unless she starts really getting into investing and finding those great undervalued companies. She's limited to about a 7 to 12% growth in her money over time, which again means that $2,200 a month lifestyle is pretty fixed. It increasing for inflation,
Right.
but definitely not increasing for your type of lifestyle. Whereas if she kept the fourplex, again, rents go up. So we put a little snag in there, and we want to hear from you. What do you think she should do? Could she get out of Dodge in a year or less with her son and move to, let's just say, Mexico? Hey, Ange, good to see you in the chat. Artwork Insight said landlord experience. So you must have had a bad landlord experience or good landlord experience. I'm not sure. Okay, going back to LLO, potential at 3,500. I don't know if this is towards Fannie Frugal or the last one, minus the 1,750 towards monthly mortgage. Doesn't sound like much if you have other debt or bills like insurance. Let's see if that's from the conservative people. Yeah, that is for the Connie and Carl conservative. So, yeah, exactly. You basically get double, what you owe in mortgage as cash flow. So, and they don't have other debt. And that includes the 1,750 right now includes homeowners insurance, but they'd have to get landlord insurance. So, their monthly outlay may go over a little bit of 1,750, but we're not going to get into all of those kinds of particulars. But these are definitely questions that you should be asking yourself should you find yourself in that situation. Okay, so Action VJ says rent out the unit she lives in and retire in them international streets. What about the student loan debt? What about the student loan debt? Sell and do a side hustle. The side hustle also could, so now she doesn't fly economy. Now she can fly business class.
Yeah.
Right.
It has its place.
Yeah. Yeah. So Lady Srita says, my dad made good money on rentals, then decided to be rid of them. I can't imagine living abroad with U.S. rentals. It all depends on your situation. And where you're moving to, right? For us, it's easy because we have lots of family in the places where we have rentals. That may change 5 years from now. That may change 10 years from now, and we may sell them. Or.
And I mean, if you are in the U.S. and you have rentals in California, but you live in New York, you still have to, if you have to get somewhere, you have to get back.
Yeah, so there isn't any difference. Our country is so huge that if you owned rentals on one coast and lived on the other, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. The only thing different is the laws apply.
Yeah.
But I mean, foreign laws don't apply to your rentals in the United States.
Well, some may. I don't know. Some may. So we can't make that decision. But Mexico doesn't necessarily.
Went wrong with your rentals, if you had to do something that had to pertain with U.S. law.
Oh yeah. True that.
Yeah, not
tax wise and stuff. Yeah, I totally identify with Frugal Fannie. Currently looking for a multifamily home, so I'll have a total of 3 rental properties. Right, good. Also started investing in small businesses as well. Very good, Tammy. Very good. Hopefully you know how to evaluate these small businesses well and the management behind them. So I'm assuming that you do. Mary W. needs to pay off the student loan first, in my opinion, and has long time for smart investment moves as prices readjust, drop lower. Thought. So, because she, as far as what is in her IRA and 401k and stuff like that, right, she can't touch it for a while. So I would continue to invest in the stock market. Um, I like tangible stuff, and it's, I do like tangible stuff. So I'd probably keep the fourplex, and
Yeah.
hire a management company if you need to, and negotiate. Um, so Mary, as far as the stock market is concerned, if you're investing in index funds, or some type of diversified fund, right? ETFs, etc. This is not something that you should be looking at every day and letting your emotions get caught up in it.
Yeah.
Right. So for investments in the stock market, it is suggested that you not need that money for at least 5 years. And I have to say, even when the fit hit the sham during the last recession, within 5 years, our money had come back and some, even with as bad as that recession was. So, um, Krishan says, sell and buy a duplex in Mexico, then invest the rest into the market. There's something to be said for that. I don't particularly like the real estate laws in Mexico, but that's me. Other people don't mind them, and it all depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? We know people like Michelle of San Miguel de Allende bought a house there. It's like a bed and breakfast, Casa Elm, and so yeah, that's definitely an idea. Student loan debt depends on interest rate, so it's a public student loan, and I think they're usually fixed at about 3 to 4%. So, lady agrees with Krishan. My uncle has lots of rentals. He's now selling them all, building a duplex, and living on one side. Hey, you know what you want to do and for how long you want to do it. So definitely, if real estate investment is your thing, we are putting together a master real estate investment class. If you want to get on the waiting list, that information is down in the description below. Have an exit plan. Have an exit plan. Get rid of the student loan debt and buy some gold and silver. God's money. Y'all know that the person who is helping us build the class for real estate investing, my cousin AJ, also invests in gold.
Invests in gold.
He owns a store.
Gold, silver,
gold and
metals,
silver. Yeah, precious metals, investment grade jewelry, etc. And he also has about 35 to 40 doors that he owns in rental properties. So that's an option. It just depends on what you think your lifestyle looks like. Okay, so Bill asks, Halisi Rick, did you buy your rentals in areas you know, or did you buy in different lesser known markets? No, we bought in places that we know. I think you really do need to understand your market. So even if you're not going to buy in your hometown or in a town that you've lived in for a while that say we wanted to take advantage of the lower prices in Ohio, whatever city that we were going to look at, I would start watching their city council meetings online to see where they're investing, how they invest in infrastructure, where they're putting their money, what areas are up and coming, that people have not gotten attuned to yet, where you can get a bigger bang for the buck and know that 3, 4, 5 years from now, it's going to be a whole different neighborhood.
Exactly.
It doesn't necessarily have to be gentrified in the worst case scenario. It could be gentrified in a community-based scenario where folks are not displaced.
So pretty much, look at what's going on. Like she said, the city council meetings, news, follow the money. Where are they putting money into? And that will help you determine where you should be buying.
Exactly. And so what I don't know with the student loan income-based repayment plan, and I put in there that this was a public student loan on purpose and not private, because we still don't know what Biden's doing. But if anything,
he's supposed to be finding a different way because the Supreme Court shut him out. So he's coming with something else. I think he's going to get it some way or another.
In any event, we do know income-based repayment plans are a thing. Do they take the income that you get for your rental, or is it only W-2 and 1099 income? So that's a question to ask yourself and to figure out. Renting requires good management and maintenance component if you wish to move out of the U.S. Yes, you need to have a place and plan. A plan in place. You need to have a place and plan.
And a place and plan.
So yeah, definitely. I would say keep the fourplex. Hey, West Coast Media Solutions Inc. Sounds like a new name. Welcome. I would say keep the fourplex. See how it goes living abroad for a few years. Her son may not like living abroad. He may want to come back, live in the fourplex, and go to college within the States. Right? These are things that you need to consider, and because nothing has to be cut and dry, right? So she doesn't sell right away. She goes to see how it goes, and see. She can always sell. You can always sell, and you don't even necessarily have to be in the country to hire a real estate person and get your place on the market.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So money changes things. You can hire people to stage it, whatever you need to do. That's a thing. So wherever you decide real estate investment, wherever you decide to buy, look at the state laws and look at the city laws to see how much rights renters have, how many rights do landlords have. City-wise, they tend to favor the landlord because landlords are also developers, and the developers pay for city council. I'm just going to tell you how it is, right? If you have a really, really progressive city council like Denver does right now, that could take a turn in favor of renters. I'm in the middle. I don't like the fact that someone can break into your house and claim squatters' rights.
Yeah.
And then you have to go through a bunch of rigmarole to get them out, even though they don't have a contract. So look to see what those rights are and how hard it would be if you had an empty place and you weren't there to watch it, right? Before you get another renter in. So Regina says, take $150,000 out of the fourplex, pay off debt, I think, move out of rental property. The new tenant rent should finance that equity withdrawal. Keep that rental and work on the side hustle. Okay, you got it planned out, Regina. See, and this is the thing. I don't want to say more than one way to skin a cat because I like kitties. But you guys know there's lots of ways to tackle a problem, and it doesn't have to be cut and dry. What we're wanting to show you is that a lot of the old-fashioned ways we thought we could save our way to financial independence. We had so much money just sitting in a savings account. And this was when the interest rates were like 0.0001. I mean, we were making like 20 cents on, $80,000 or whatever.
Something crazy.
So there's lots of different ways to do it. 4,700 mortgage with no income and having it as rental makes me anxious. You need to have a huge emergency fund. Exactly. But here's the thing. If you have a fourplex, Mimi, what are the chances that all four are going to be empty at the same time? If there is a flood or something like that makes them uninhabitable, you have insurance. And that's the thing between having a fourplex and having a single family home. If you have a single family home, they move.
Yeah. You don't have any income coming in at all.
But if you take her mortgage at $4,700, right? And then you just divide that by 4 just to make it easy, right? 4,700 divided by 4. So if one were empty, she'd have to come up with $1,175 for that one. Probably less, because depending upon which one it is, if it's one of the 2-bedroom, 1-bath, the 2-bedroom, 2-baths are basically taking up a good portion of that mortgage at $2,300. Yeah, $2,300 and $2,300 is $4,600. That's the mortgage right there, plus 100, right? So That's why getting more than one unit is always, a good way to hedge your bets. Thank you, Krishan. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, Laura, that's the thing. I don't know. I know that you can do like a 99-year lease or something like that. If you buy a duplex that is part of maybe a compound or something, maybe that's different. Maybe you're all just leasing the land. I don't know. And because I don't know, that's what makes me hesitant. But I do know people who I consider smart who have done it. So they've figured it out. And I think it's really, really important that you get a good attorney in wherever you're going to buy, so that you truly understand what the laws are versus what your expectations of the laws are.
Yeah, because they change at any given time.
What is the fastest way to pay off student loans? I'm at 80,000. Don't want to stay here for so many years in Chicago. Ooh, Carmen, I know that's right. So the question is,
are they private or public? That's the question.
Yes. Are they private or public? So if they're public, once you stop working and your income is conceivably close to zero, you might only end up paying $20 or less per month until the end, not until it's all paid off, but until it's supposed to be over. So like for me right now, I'm paying zero, and each month it goes in zero due, zero paid. And as long as I keep renewing that, then at 2032, I think it's over. It's over, regardless of if I've had zero payments between now and then, it's over. So if it's a public student loan, it works a lot differently. Do not refinance those public student loans, people. You get all of this stuff from SoFi and all these other places.
Yeah.
Do not refi a public student loan. Leave it public. Leave it public, because it's under different rules and regulations. Okay.
What's the saying? You can't get away from death to taxes, and private student loans should be added.
Yeah, private student loans are a beast.
Jeez.
They adjust and everything else.
Yep.
It depends on where you live, LLQ. What is true in New York is not necessarily true in Colorado, is not necessarily true in Mississippi. I hate to say this, but states with very conservative governments, it tends to be very easy to evict people. States with more progressive governments, where they understand stuff happens and they don't want to see people on the street, it becomes more difficult. So I know it's relatively difficult in LA. There are squatters' rights, and that's a thing. So, you just have to understand that. All right. Looks like we've gotten through all of the suggestions. So for Fannie Frugal, we say take the $21.30 a month and put that, stop trying to pay off the principal, but put that towards her emergency fund savings. In 12 months, she could save $25,560. I like the idea of increased cash flow over time, not just increased for inflation. So I would keep it. If it were me, I would keep it, or I would do a side hustle. These are things that you guys have suggested. And so, that's what I would do. But definitely stop paying off that principal. Put that money towards your emergency fund and towards a nice, chunky
something to
maintenance.
Let it grow.
Yeah, maintenance. So, and then once you've got that maintenance set aside, then you can take that money and start putting it back into investments. The extra money over and above what you need to live off of, you can start putting in investments. So that's Fannie Frugal. Is there anything else? Hey, Professor, good to see you. Yes. So we are going on to our last case study. And all right, so Let me add this to the stream and get on to the next one. Let's hi, Professor. This is Lori and Lonnie, late starters.
Okay. They have 181,000 in investment accounts. 24,000 of the above is cash.
Right. So it's investments and savings. Sorry, guys. Forgot to change that.
6.7 thousand is credit card debt. Wow. That's low. I don't have a lot of credit card debt. They can take care of that. Not bad at all. $4,000 a month they're anticipating for a life abroad, or $48,000 a year. They're empty nesters, the age 56 and 61. They have 2 adult children, and they want to retire SAP and move abroad. The real estate holdings, their main home, primary residence is 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Mortgage is $423,000. The value of it is $601,000. The mortgage payment is $2,300, and there's a rental potential of $3,500. That's their main home. Now, the rental property, the first property, is a condo. It's 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Mortgage is $82,000. The value is $350,000. Monthly payment is $850. The HOA fees are $288. The rental potential on this property is $2,888. Okay, then you have rental property 2. And this is the new one. So the duplex, both units, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Mortgage is $650,000. The value is $765,000. The monthly payment is $4,621. There's a rental potential of $3,000 for each side. Only one is rented currently.
So they just bought the duplex in the last couple of months. The rental property number 1 was owned by one of them before they got married. And so that's why the mortgage is so low on it now. So they've owned it for a couple of decades. And then they bought the main home when they got married a few years ago. Let's just say 3 to 5 years ago. So that's why they owe more on the main home and less on the rental property. So net cash flow, if all of the units were rented out, would be $4,329, not including set-asides for maintenance. If they sell, it would be a net of about $541,000, not including any tax implications. $48,000 per month for 6 years. And I did 6 years on this one because they're so close to Social Security. We know Social Security is not going away in the next few years. And so that's why it's more important that Lori and Lonnie actually consider the cash flow from Social Security, because one of them, whoever's the 61-year-old, will get it next year. And it's probably going to be at least showing how much they have in their investment accounts and stuff like that. We know they were pretty good earners, probably. Not that they shouldn't have more; they should. But they're late starters, just like Rick and I. Mm-hmm. So, but they probably made some decent money, and so let's just say at 62, early retiree, it's going to be about $1,500 a month or so. So that's why I only did it by 66 years. But a total FI number at $48,000 a year would be $1.2 million in their investment accounts to be able to withdraw that 4% each year and not run out of money. What would be your suggestions for them? Bill chimes in right away.
Get rid of the credit card debt, ASAP.
ASAP. So, yes.
I totally agree with that. I mean, it's low. It's low debt, so you can get rid of that.
Right? And so, right now, they are netting from their condo $1,750 from their condo. So they could have that just from the condo alone, not including the duplex, because they still have to rent out that other side. So right now the rent is only covering 3,000 of the 4,621. So they're having to come up with 1,621 until they rent out that other side. So once they have that rented out, then the condo alone at 1,750 can have that $6,000 worth of debt paid off, lickety split. What else would y'all suggest that they do? Get that unit rented ASAP? Yes. Yes. Auntie Trey says ditto. So yeah, definitely need to get that rented out. And the fact that they can demand $3,000 for each side,
yeah.
They probably can get that rented out really fast, even if they offer it at 2,900. They're still making out on that. So, or one of the things that I might suggest is I would suggest moving into the condo. Moving into the condo and paying that $850 a month in your rent. I use quotation marks, right? So now your housing costs are $850 plus a $288, so $1,000 something per month. The extra money that you were putting towards your mortgage in your main home, that extra $1,300 $1,300 or so, could go towards paying off that credit card debt as well as saving. And then you rent out each side at $3,000, so you've got $6,000. You'd have a net of $1,379. 6,000 minus $4,621. You have a net of $1,379. So $1,379 plus the $1,200 from the main home is a net of $2,579, $2,579. The debt is paid off in 3 months. You save that money for 12 months, save the rest of it for 12 months. And what do you have? You saved about $30,948 extra. So the $30,000 plus the $27,000. Now you've got almost $60,000 in cash plus your investments. I would suggest increasing savings emergency account. Yes, Renita. Yes, 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 yes. They need more money. So Donna thinks that they need to increase their investments by selling one of the properties. Why?
And
I'd like to hear more, Donna, on your thought process.
Because what investments?
So yeah,
buying
index funds. Let's just keep it simple and say index funds. If one of these properties was not netting, you were upside down, like your mortgage was more expensive than what you could demand in rent, yet you could still sell it and end up in the black or break even, maybe. But I love, love, love. I'm really happy to be wrong on this. I'd really love to hear your thought process on why you think they should sell one of their houses and then have more in their investment account. So thank you, Nicole. If y'all think this is really good, we've got almost 200 people watching right now. We should have some likes.
Yes,
hit that like
definitely.
button. Hit that like button. Be sure to share this with your friends and family. They pay for the unit. So let's see what TW is talking about. Age 64, pension starts 2025, Social Security at 2027. Healthy 401k, no debt at all. House is paid off. Looking to retire. Oh, this is your situation. You talk about your situation. Looking to retire in Valencia, Spain. Income for life in 2027 will be $85,000 per year. You are rolling. TW, you are rolling. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sasha is going, says, do you plan to manage 3 rentals from abroad? I would consider selling the main home or the duplex. They have 2 adult children. Could one of them manage them for them? You know, they offer them a piece of the cash flow. They could offer them discounted rent because, let's see, the cash flow is $4,329. So they've got $329 a month to play with right now, where they could offer one of their children discounted rent to live, say, in the duplex or whatever, or maybe in the condo since that has the lowest mortgage, and then help manage the other properties.
I mean, are they looking to leave it for or build generational wealth with those properties?
Yeah, that's a question you need to ask yourself. Did you plan to put this in an estate and leave it to your children? Latanya says, sell the property. Sell them properties. Pay off the debt. That little $6,000, they could pay that off in a couple of months and be done with it. They do need to increase their emergency fund, though. But if you've got property that is generating, their properties are grossing $12,388 a month. And then after they pay their mortgages, they're at $4,329 a month net after taxes and insurance, $4,300 a month. How much money would they have to have in investment accounts to get dividends of $4,300? It's all about cash flow and making sure you can pay your bills on a monthly basis, not just having a bunch of money set aside. So Donna says, I agree. Yes, index funds. I also agree with more emergency funds. Saying, yeah. This was a complex scenario, right? My head hurts. No, it's not really that complex. So obviously their plan was to live off of 100% off of rental income, which is why they just bought that other duplex in the last few months. They figured all 3 of them together, it's $4,300 today. It could be $8,000 7 years from now that they're getting from these rental properties. Meanwhile, their mortgage hasn't gone up. The condo might be paid off by then, right? So HB says, sell the main home and live in the condo. If they sold the main home and get that $200,000, is not going to generate enough income to make up the rest, but side hustle, right? And now they have a healthier emergency fund and investment account. See, another question you need to ask yourself is, how much money do you need sitting there for you to feel okay?
Right.
How much money do you need sitting there for you to feel okay? And that answer is going to be different for different people. So Regina says, this scenario, are they working jobs? So yeah, they're going to be working for the next year. And I don't know how much income they're making. So we didn't really delve into that. But suffice it to say, they were probably living beyond their means, which is why they have credit card debt. So they've gotten a clue. They're on the FIRE plan now. They have eliminated their expenses. Now they're going to start paying off that debt as opposed to buying more stuff. And they've got enough, to set aside money to pay off that debt and set aside money for emergency fund, as well as a maintenance fund for their rental units. So wealth tax. Okay. So Nicole says, there's no way I would sell. I'm with you, but everyone's different. Everyone is different,
That's true.
And the idea of managing something from long distance is just not appealing. You got to know yourself.
It depends on how you look at it.
Hey, Tanisha, you got to know yourself.
Yeah.
And they have more options. They do have more options. They do have more options. I still would move out of the main house since you can get more rent and move into that condo at $850 mortgage payment and use that extra money to help build my cash fund and pay off that debt. Hey, high vibe, better late than never. So Sasha's saying I would definitely stack up some cash if I kept all three properties in case there were two vacancies at once. Yes, 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 absolutely. Especially because you have two single family homes, right? The condo and the main home. So absolutely. Hey, BJM, good to see you. Good to see. I'm kind of late. Did any of the case studies have car payments included as part of their debt? No. Because you can sell a car. Like if you're not upside down in your car, you can sell it and pay off what's owed, right? That's what we did. We only owed a couple of thousand on your car, but we, paid off the couple of thousand, got cash, and walked away. No harm, no foul, right? So that's why if you're moving and you're not planning to take your car, why pay it off?
Yeah, you're not going to.
Don't give that money to those people. Don't give those money. So Bill says that feel okay number seems to migrate up as you hit a goal. That's why it's really important to know how much is enough, because it's real easy to say. Like we have a friend who has as much money as he needs.
Oh yeah.
In his lifetime to retire, and he's like, just a little more, just a little more, just a little more, just a little more. And it's like, you're going to turn around and be 70 and your knees are going to be bad and you're not going to want to do anything. So, all right. So HB says, sell one property and invest some in index funds. They can leave that to their children. Their children will sell the home to fund their own lifestyle anyway. Maybe. Thank you for bringing up the idea of looking at cash flow and not just total investments. Makes you think, right? Right? That was my aha moment. When we figured that out, it was like, wait a minute. We don't have to wait until we hit the total FI number. We just have to make sure that we have enough income coming in. We've got our 2 to 3 years emergency fund. If a rental property is empty, et cetera, we have the money to cover for a year. And still have a year or so for us left over.
Right.
And so I think that's what we needed to feel comfortable. But, and it's different for everybody. But yes, the cash flow method, y'all, if you are starting late, like Rick and I did, if you're over 50 and you don't necessarily have 10 years, you don't want 10 years. This is a way to get there faster, and keeping your credit in good shape can help you buy these properties without a lot of money, right? You're leveraging their money, other people's money. And still your money is growing, like your $10,000 investment into a $200,000 house. You are still growing the value on the whole 200,000. Not just the 10,000 that you put down, for instance. Okay, so Mary says this is a tough one. She's talking about the last one. I think since still working, so all of those scenarios, they were still working, but they're trying to retire and move ASAP. So I think since they're still working, they have time to work on getting the rental to, right, other unit rented to a tenant, or like you said, move into the rental, still need to get the other unit filled, I still would move into the condo. I would lessen my housing expenses as little as possible. So that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Although the condo makes the most amount of money. So I would have to see if the condo making $1,750 per month versus me paying just the mortgage, what that difference is versus living on the other side of the duplex. We have to see if the math is mathing. Because the condo has such a low mortgage payment,
Right.
and you can still charge, almost $3,000 to rent it, it's making $1,750. These are things to think about, because you're also right. This last year that you're trying to save as much money as possible. It's either going to come from your income because you're paying less for housing, or it's going to come from rental income. So I would have to do the math on that, which I didn't do. But yeah. There are lots of ways to look at this. They only have $6,700 in credit card debt. That doesn't seem like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. We've talked to people who have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of credit card debt. We had that at one time. If they have W-2s, they can knock that off in less than a year. They can knock that off quickly. 2 incomes, come on, they can knock that off. So Black said, I'm down to my last lease payment on my car, turning that bad boy in when I'm back to Portugal. Right? That's right. That's right. Can't wait to see you. Well, we're not there. Can't wait to see you back there, though. That's what I'm saying, Auntie Trey. Right? That's why we're trying to retire ASAP. We're not trying to wait until we're 70 and 80 years old to start living our best life. Are you suggesting taking Social Security as soon as possible, 62, or possibly wait till full retirement? Thoughts? No, get the money now. Get the money now. Because, depending upon, see, if they wait until 67, but they're not working, then it's going to start going down. The amount of money that they would get at 67 is going to start going down. So they're not working, which means they're not contributing.
Not adding, right? You're not adding to it.
So it's going to start going down. So it might not even be worth it to wait until 67. The only time that makes sense is if you're still working.
And contributing.
And maybe if you retire after 62 years old, it doesn't go down. It seems like I remember reading something like that. But if she retired at 61 years old before she's 62 and the other at 56, that Social Security is going to start going down. So like mine's going down right now. I don't know how much I'm going to get. So I do an ROI, but I'm thinking take it as soon as possible, because also if one of the other units is empty for a spell, you've got Social Security making up for the money loss. Maybe not the whole, but at least some of it, right? Is say if they're getting $1,500 and one of their units at $3,000 is empty. Well, the difference for their duplex, the difference is $1,621. So now their Social Security is covering that. No harm, no foul. They're not having to spend money out of their own pocket necessarily. I'm just saying. You don't necessarily have to wait. Cash flow. Buy a fourplex. See if you live in it for 2 years, you can get an FHA loan. You only have to put 3% down. It's usually less per square footage than a single family home, right? And then once you're out, you've got 3 adding to your money, 3 units adding to your money, or making it so that you are living rent-free, mortgage rent-free, right? Because other people are paying for it. And then you rent all 4 of them out once you're out of Dodge. And there's your money right there.
There you
go. I see. If it were me, I would not keep buying properties until I get up to $5,000 a month, because I don't need that much money. I would say I can live nicely on $2,200 a month, and I would find a place where I could live like I want to live on $2,200 a month. That's what I would do to retire sooner than later. The only other way to cash flow is to create something that generates cash, right? So you can create courses. Now there's still some upfront work, But if you sell courses online that are on-demand courses like Beyond the Bling, Money Mindset Makeover for Financial Independence, we put a lot of work into that, a lot of work up front. Now it sells and we're making money off of it as it sells. So that's one way. If you've got enough courses, or if you've got something that is really is a high dollar ticket item, then that could be a way. Other kind of digital products where you put the work in up front and then it sells on its own. You just have to do some marketing here and there, etc. You can, like, there was someone in the audience that talked about investing in small businesses. That's another way. Investing in small businesses where they are going to pay you a piece of the profits every month. Not like buying stock in a company where it's dividends, right? But you get a piece of the profit after net or off the top. That's up to you on how you negotiate it. You can have a blog and be an affiliate marketer for a lot of things. And every time they click on something that you are talking about, you get money that way.
Yeah, you get
once a sell is made. That's another way. So, besides investing in somebody else's small business where you are a profit participant, everything else is going to take some work. And even the investment is going to take some work in evaluating. You really, really, really need to know. Like, if before I invested in somebody's small business, I would want to see that they had built a small business before and succeeded. As someone who worked in venture capital for over half a decade, that's the number one thing before we invest. Like, what else did you do that generated income? And you succeeded. You either sold it or you transitioned, right? So that's number one. Then number two, I would evaluate the marketplace. What is this thing that they are creating? What service are they offering or product they are producing? Is there a chance for disruption? In other words, is there disruptive technology that you even know about that could make this thing obsolete? Like, I would not have invested in Blockbuster in this century.
Yeah.
Right? The streaming video has been around since the late 90s. Why Blockbuster did not get a clue before Netflix was created is beyond me. But that was disruptive technology. Streaming was there long enough, right? Like, I remember that. So they should have put two and two together. Their R&D department should have put two and two together. So do you know about the marketplace in the small company that you are investing in? You really have to do like a SWOT analysis of the company, a SWOT analysis of the market in general, and where you see the future of that thing going. So those are the kind of things I would look at. Their financial, I would look at their debt to income ratio. I would look at all of those things that you would look at for any kind of investment to make sure that this is something that has a higher probability of success. Okay, so getting back to our case studies, High Vibe says maybe move into the property with the least rental revenue.
Yeah.
That's another way to look at it. And so that would be staying in their main home, because that one only generates $1,200. So Latanya says, I'm planning to take Social Security as soon as possible. Waiting to 70 makes a big difference, but I just can't do it. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And the thing about it is that, you also have to look at what's your average lifespan for your family and stuff. Like, I don't know. My side of the family, they live a long time. So, but it still doesn't. They're getting crazy in the U.S. and I'm ready to retire abroad. Here's a faster way. Cash flow, baby. Cash flow. Cash flow. All right. Republicans are still trying to move the age to 70 years old. So you can't even start collecting at all until you're 70. See? You see? That's why it's so important. Like, if you are creating cash flow yourself, what they do, you just plan around it, right? And so they can do whatever craziness they're going to do. And it's like, okay, If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't is good, right? Because I don't know. Doesn't Social Security penalize you if you take it at 62? It just depends. So they penalize you in that you're not fully retired, right? Yeah, you're not going to get as much as if you wait till you're 67.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
like, you have to look at that difference and say, is it worth it?
They want you to wait.
They want you to wait and hope you die in between.
Yeah.
Right. But like, to wait for 5 years for that money, and it could only be an extra $200 or $300 a month. Is it worth it?
That's about it. Extra two or $300.
It depends, right? But is it worth it? And for some, you might say yes. For others, it might not be worth it. What is the limited amount you can make while drawing Social Security? It depends on how old you are. If you're over 67, there is no limit. Under 67, I'm not sure, but that you can Google it. Yeah, your prediction of Social Security is based on you working and earning that same amount or more until Social Security age. Things are very different when you retire early. I'm trying to tell you guys. So far, mine hasn't gone down, but that's just because I worked a little bit in 2022. 2 years from now, I'll let y'all know. I'll let y'all know how much it's gone down. So I assume Social Security is not impacted by rental income. I don't think so, but I would triple check that. I'm not sure. I'm going to tell you, I don't think so, but I don't know. Oh, investing in a laundromat. Okay. I would still do the research, right? What kind of area is it in? Is it in an area where people would use laundromats? Does this person have us, the person who is also investing with you, are they making sure that enough money is set aside for maintenance, et cetera, and all of those kinds of things? So I wish there was a service that would take care of all the paperwork required to move from the U.S. to Spain. There is. There is so much paperwork involved in moving. There's so much paperwork involved in moving to anyone. I'm sure there are. So you guys know, if you're interested in Portugal, Blacksit Global and Our Black Utopia are partnering to do a Move to Portugal virtual summit. That's the first weekend in November. There are immigration specialists, I'm sure, for all the major countries in Europe, and Spain is a major country as far as I'm concerned. So get into the expat Facebook groups, TW. There's some black ones, and then there's some anybody ones. Get into all of them, and don't ask the question until you search. Do a search for immigration specialists, immigration attorneys. We paid someone to do everything for us. Well, she couldn't download our bank statements, but she had a list of everything that we need to gather. We put it in a Dropbox type of situation, and she put in the pieces that she needed, that we needed. She knew that we needed. At the end of the day, she sent the whole thing to Kinko's. It was printed and ready for us in San Francisco when we arrived. All we had to do is go through it and, paperclip the stuff that we wanted paperclip together. Easy peasy. When we did our residency for Mexico, we gathered the stuff that we needed to give to the consulate to have them give us their approval. But then when we went to Mexico, we hired Sonia Diaz's company and worked with Therese in Puerto Vallarta. And she did the transferring our visa to get our green card part. She did that for us.
Right.
We didn't have to say a word. Sign here, fingerprints there, take a picture here, boom, boom, done, got your card, we out. Deuces. So there are people that will help you with all of that stuff. So Mavis says, debt-free, paid-off car, work and live in the national park. Yay. Want to retire early, credit score is over 800. What's the next step? Debt scares me. Debt should not scare you if you have debt for an appreciable asset. So there's two methods. You're either going to save 25 times your annual income, your annual expenses, not income, expenses. There should be a difference, right? And I would be conservative with that number. Where is your worst case scenario, your most expensive place that you might end up living? And it would be 25 times my living expenses in that place. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is cash flow. You have to invest in something that is going to give you cash monthly, quarterly, like that. Now, obviously, the stock market and dividends could do that, but you need a lot, millions and millions to have enough dividends to live off of dividends. But if you are a profit participant in something, whether it is a profit participant in a business, not just a stockholder, but a profit participant, or you have rental income, or you have product out there like courses and things like that, that you've put in the work already, and now it's passively or semi-passively, because you still have to market, paying you money so that you can generate enough to live on, that is another way to get to FI. Okay. So for some of these folks, like the first ones that we looked at, let's go back to Carl and Connie Conservative. Even in their best case scenario, they're $700 in the hole for the amount of money that they want to live off of. So for them, having a course, a side hustle, an investment in a business where they're a profit participant may be the way to go, because it's just the $700. Another way is if someone doesn't mind, working some piddly 100% remote job where they put in less than 10 hours a week to get that $700. That's another way to do it. And then their taxes are paid. Since they're still only in their late 40s, one of them is still contributing to Social Security through that W-2 job. So there's lots of ways to look at that. There is lots of ways. All right, what else are you guys talking about? My family too. Okay, glass half full. Hey there, what do you think about borrowing money from family for a down payment on a duplex? I'm not too sure about this. It depends on the family.
Yeah.
It depends on the family. But whatever you do, put everything in writing. Put everything in writing. Don't handshakes. Yeah. That can get muddy. And I thought you said, and this, that, and the other. So my cousin AJ, he did borrow from family and friends for his first rentals. And he was doing that for quite a while. So if they know that you have owned a home and you do what you're supposed to do, pay your bills on time, et cetera, and they trust you, it could be a way to go. But I would have something in writing that makes sense for their repayment in the worst case scenario. Maybe the thing is they are a profit participant in the rental property, so that they have a vested interest to keep all of the units rented.
Just as long as they know what they're getting into and you know what you're getting into, I think it's fine. What are the terms to do that?
Have it in writing. Have it in writing, because folks get funny about money, and So Laura says taking it at 62 is worth it. I'm taking it at 62.
Yeah. Stress is real.
Don't be so afraid of debt. Who's the other person? Don't be so afraid of debt that you miss out on opportunities. The thing, like credit card debt, bad. Private student loan debt, bad. Student loan debt, bad in general, right? But public is not as bad. A car debt, bad. But usually it's we had like 2.5% interest. and you can always sell it, right? Take what you make, pay cash for hoopty. But having debt that is part of a mortgage, where the biggest thing is making sure that you are not buying a house that is overvalued. So it may make sense to buy a fixer upper, right? And so once you have lipstick and rouge is all I'll do. I'm not into like knocking down
Reconstructing it.
walls and redoing wiring. I'm talking about it needs a paint job, maybe some counters, maybe redo the floors type of thing, right? So you buy something that's undervalued, you invest a little bit of elbow grease and money into it, and now you've got, instead of $10,000 in equity, now you have $40,000 in equity, right? So having debt where to sell it would instantly get rid of that debt, that's not a bad thing. You can always put it on the market. And unless you buy in a place that nobody wants to move to, you shouldn't be in a bad situation. Houses move quickly in America. That's
Right.
not necessarily the case in all countries. But here in America, houses move quickly in general.
No
That's
key.
funny. That's funny.
Yeah, they are. Really are.
So, yeah, they can make money. And it seems to me that the initial outlay is a lot less than some other things. How about a parking lot? How's that for low maintenance? So, another excellent discussion. Thank you, Peace for Lisa. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hit the
Thank
like
you.
button if you agree. Another excellent discussion. I'm only tolerant of renting out a property that I own outright. Also, a newer property that's still under warranty. Maintenance costs are skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And I think it just depends on, on what you're talking about. Like it's a good idea. And these are some of the things that we will be teaching in our real estate investing masterclass. Have a good handyman that you trust, that you've been working with for a long time, right? That won't come in and always try to gouge you, right? They'll make enough money so that they can, do what they need, so that they feel good about what they're doing,
Right. Right.
but not just like, they can afford it. You don't want those kind of people. So you need to put some things in place so that it makes sense. Um, the type of person who can install a new water heater as well as a microwave, as well as paint your house, right?
Some things learn yourself.
If you're going to be around, but if you're moving
if you're gonna be
abroad,
around, yeah,
you know,
learn how to do that kind of stuff yourself.
so, so yeah, I think, and it depends, right? So it depends on what your risk, how much you are willing to risk, how risk averse you are, right? If you are really, really skittish and risk averse, then I guess maybe having a property that you own outright is the thing. If if it's a single family home, even more so. However, I would be hesitant to pay it off every month, to pay extra every month. And we've said this at the beginning, but it's worth reiterating. If you really want to pay a property off, the best way to do that is to take the extra money and, instead of giving it to the mortgage company,
Right.
put it in a high yield savings account, put it in CDs where it's making money for you. And then when you have enough to pay it off in one chunk at that point. So at least your money is making money. If you just give it to the mortgage company, your money's not making money. Yeah, but I'm gaining equity. Well, that you can't do anything with equity until you sell it. But your money is making money. There you go, right? So that's the best way, in my opinion, to pay off a mortgage. Right. Higami says, for late 30s, 40 somethings, what do you think about pulling out of 401k to pay off private student loans? It depends on how much it is and what you really like. What is your real plan? And when I say what is your real plan, how quickly do you want to retire? If you are 32 and you wanted to retire by 40, You know what I would do, Igami? Before I pulled money out of my 401k, I would try to lower expenses and or house hack. Like, I would try to find a 100% remote job, go live in Querétaro for $500 to $600 a month, and use that extra money to pay off the student loans before pulling money out of my 401k.
Yeah.
I try to increase income. That's what I would do. Lessening expenses and taking that extra money to pay off debt, to me, is better than taking money out of something that's making money for you without you having to put in the work, right? For some people, can you put the case back up? Okay, which one? So I'm going to put the last case back up, if that's the one you're talking about. Are there cost of living adjustments applied to Social Security payments? When the government says so. Those purse strings are held by Congress. Right? So, all right. It looks like we have done it, y'all, at an hour and 36 minutes. Let's see. I'm not seeing too many more questions. Do the math on 62, right? Do the math. Yeah, at 62 and 67. Break even doesn't occur until like 73, depending. So, yeah. So retiring at 62 and taking that money doesn't negatively impact you until you're at least 73. And then it's still incremental. So if you die at 74, God forbid, right? It's still incremental. How many countries can you have a living visa for, like residency?
It depends.
As an American, you can have as many as you want. Now, some of those other countries may put regulations on it, but so we have the legal right to be in the USA, the legal right to live in Mexico, and the legal right to live in Portugal. And so, yeah. The other thing is there is a stay requirement in Portugal. So we have to live in country. We have to be in country living there for a certain amount of months per year. So whatever other countries we apply to couldn't have the same requirement.
Right.
So that's where your limitations usually come from. But also with countries that don't have treaties, that are not part of like the UN and stuff like that, there may be some acrimony where you cannot have a visa, residency visa, if you are a citizen or something of another country. Lenora, get your passport ASAP. Do not wait until the end of the year. Okay, right now, like the last time Rick checked, they had 500,000 applications per week. 500,000 per week. Do not wait. If you have the money, go ahead and do it now. Because when you want it, you want to have it. And it might not even be about that, right? Because the millennials are the biggest one. They out maneuvered, as far as numbers go, the baby boomers. So it's not necessarily just about, people contributing. It's also about what Congress is going to do and who's in power, right? And also, I think they need to up the amount that you can make as a W-2 employee before they stop taking out more benefits. It shouldn't cut off at like 160,000 or whatever it cuts off at now. Hey, Mrs. She Said. Good day, everyone. First time watcher. Thanks for the information. Subscribe. Yay! Welcome to the OBU family. Woohoo! Woohoo! Okay, yeah. See, I have bad debt. We all have had some bad debt for the most part, Greta, at one time or another. So, all right, y'all. what we have looked at are 3 different scenarios for people who are trying to get to financial independence through cash flow. All right, through cash flow, as opposed to saving up 25 times expenses in investment accounts, which takes longer traditionally. Parking lot next to the airport, right? I know that's right, as a good investment.
Ooh.
I know that's right. Have you all looked at the market in Portugal? Just curious. If you're talking about the real estate market, yeah, we've started, but not. We haven't looked. Like we are understanding in general some of the laws that are so different from America. Is like, ooh, that hurts. I don't like that. Right? Things that we have to look out for. But I have to say, I have not paid attention to how they're investing and where they're investing, besides what other folks are telling us. It does not help that I don't understand Portuguese yet, except a little bit in context when I'm buying something. So it's hard to watch council meetings or what their equivalent is if you don't understand the language.
Yeah.
And that's why we suggest y'all don't just be buying stuff in other countries when you don't understand what's going on and you don't have people that you really, really can depend upon their intelligence, their critical thinking to help you navigate that. There's a big old fly in here, y'all.
That's a bat.
I love anyone.
No, geez.
We've had a bat in this house, so don't scare me like that. Money Coach Malika, I agree with you, Halisi. I love you. I love people who agree with me. I do. All right. We're going to wrap this up. 500,000 applications for passports per week. That was like, what, 4 months ago you checked that out? Something like that?
Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, so I'm sure.
It was crazy.
Like, it probably has not settled down. Y'all, we are on a mission. If you are African American, if you are Black living in North America, be it Canada or the United States, I think you need to go, especially the United States, They do not, this country does not value us. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. It values our money, but that doesn't trickle over to valuing us. And I think, for peace of mind, not to deal with Karens, not to deal with lethal racism on a daily basis, on a regular basis, not to have to put on all of that armor. Y'all, there is a good life outside of the United States where they could have true universal health care, right? You don't want to get out of the frying pan into the fire. Make sure that all of those things are in place, that the healthcare, most of the healthcare systems are as good as or better than in the places that we recommend. And even in a lot of places we don't recommend, the healthcare system is better and or affordable. These cases and the Utopia family input was just fantastic. Thank you, Mary. And like others have said, you have courses coming up. Bye for now. See ya. Yes, we do have courses coming up. Yes, we do. So, all right. 209 watching, but 14 likes. Come on, y'all. Hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. What are we doing here? Oh, she sees 139 likes. But still, we got 200 and plus people watching. Thank you. We love you guys. We really, really do. And did we have fun at those meetups? Did we have fun? If I haven't answered your email, if I'm late if you DM me on Facebook, outside of the Facebook group, or on IG or on LinkedIn, I'm just going to let you know. It's hard to keep track of all that stuff. But if you email us at hello@ourblackutopia.com, I will get back to you. We answer every single comment that is in that we feel like answering. We look at every single comment and answer the majority of them, unless there's like some crazy nonsense. In the YouTube, if you're logging in from the future, hey there, let us know what you think about these case studies. We want to hear from you. If you still have questions about your specific scenario, we do take one-on-one calls. Information to book a call with us is in the description below. And I don't see any other questions, so we are going to let you guys go. Y'all, there is lots of ways to do this. We figured out for us that we did not have to save that $1 million. Yet our net worth is $1 million plus. You guys know our story. We went from negative 22,000 to over 1 million in net worth, but that's not cash. That's net worth, right? And there's a difference. Right. So we did not have to have $1 million in cash or semi-cash, which stock could be considered semi-cash. Obviously if you sell it, you get the cash, right? Less taxes. So we figured out we didn't have to do that if we had the cash flow. If we had the cash flow to meet our monthly expenses. For us, we also needed 2 years living expenses as our emergency fund, plus some extra money set aside for maintenance for our properties. And then we were out of Dodge. We were out of Dodge, and we were able to do that in 3.5 years or less. We had some money saved up, but not that much. No, not that much outside of our 401k and stuff. So with that,
definitely attainable.
Yes, it is attainable. You can do it. If you need help beyond the bling money mindset makeover for financial independence, we talk about these things in the course. That information is below. If you want to book a one-on-one call about your specific scenario, you can do that. That information is below. With our course, there is monthly group coaching that happens in a private Zoom call. Everybody is on camera if you want to be, and you can ask us specific questions that way. However, that's going to go to a subscription plan. So if you want the one-time only price for Beyond the Bling plus the monthly coaching, you better get that now because it's going to be changing soon. We love y'all.
Love you.
We will see you on Thursday. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about how we feel about the United States and being back, but we're only back for a month and then back to our home of Lisbon, Portugal. See y'all.
See ya.
Bye. Okay, gotta move this stuff out of the way.